There's been some more NHL free agent signings worth discussing. We'll get into all those players coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top, we have some more free agent signings to discuss here. In the last few hours here, we've had a small flurry of signings be announced, so there's enough here to kind of put together a quick video to discuss some of these signings. Now, one player that we've been talking about for some time now is Anthony Duclair. We finally know where he's ending up, and it's not really a team that's been discussed much within the rumor mill. He's actually signed a one-year contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets for $650,000. I was quite surprised when I seen the amount based on, I realized Anthony Duclair hasn't had a tremendous career so far. He's got lots of potential, but hasn't really fulfilled that. But considering the other teams that were reportedly showing interest and considering signing him, when they could have got him that cheap, it kind of surprises me that it took so long for this to come to be. But Columbus ends up giving him a chance on a one-year deal for $650,000, so it's quite a bargain deal. If he turns out to be, much of anything for Columbus, and it's going to certainly prove to be worth it. Was speculated he may end up going to Montreal. So considering how cheap they could have signed this player, I'm really surprised that they didn't go ahead with that. But I guess it is what it is, and he's off to Columbus. Now, speaking of Columbus, they've re-signed restricted free agent forward Boone Jenner. Jenner's gotten a 4-year deal at $3.75 million. Now, this deal comes as a little bit of a surprise to me. I'm not surprised that they re-signed him, but I am surprised that he got as much term and as much money as he did. If you look at his career numbers here in the last 2 or 3 seasons, he's been on a steady decline. I thought he'd be getting much on a shorter leash here, maybe a 1 to 2 year deal at most, and I certainly didn't think it would be this much money. I thought maybe in the $1.5 to $2 million range. Like, to be honest, like at one point in time, Jenner was trending upwards. But, considering how young he still is, he's been trending down the last couple of years. So a little bit of a surprising signing that he got so much term and money. Not surprised they opted to keep him in the fold there in Columbus. But like I said, I'm surprised what he got. But moving on here. Andreas Athanasiou was re-signed with the Detroit Red Wings as well. He's now signed a 2-year contract. When Athanasiou's last contract was up, they ended up in a bit of a contract dispute. Ended up getting signed really late. So there was some questions around whether or not something like that may happen again, or that he might perhaps be traded. And it looks as though they haven't had the easiest time coming to terms with him here on those last few deals. So there was a name that was been mentioned in the trade rumor, but it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. He signed a 2-year contract with the Red Wings. His contract carries an annual value of $3 million per season. So a pretty decent deal. I mean, Athanasiou's got a lot of talent. He should be able to provide at least a 20-goal season. I mean, the guy can fly. He's got a tremendous speed. So hopefully things work out with Athanasiou in Detroit, and he can continue to be a welcome piece to their offense that they so badly need in their forward group. Montreal Canadiens have re-signed Jacob Delarose to a 2-year contract carrying an annual value of $900,000 per season. So obviously Jacob Delarose should be able to fit into the bottom 6 with Montreal. Obviously he's been a player that's been in their organization now for a few years. Hasn't been somebody who's gotten a tremendous amount of playing time on a consistent basis, but with everything going on with that team and how it's looking a little bit different coming into the new season here, I would fully suspect he should be able to get a more consistent role. Maybe he can grab a hold of that 4th line center position with Thomas Plekanec's back. Maybe Plekanec will slot in as the number 3 center. So hopefully he'll be able to get more consistent playing time in Montreal here or during his contract. But obviously that's pretty much a pretty decent value signing by the Habs. So we'll see if things work out here for Jacob Delarose and he can get more consistent play and more consistent ice time in Montreal. Lastly here, the last one we have to report on is the Anaheim Ducks signing defenseman Andre Shuster to a $1.3 million contract for a 1-year deal. So obviously Schuster's a name that's been floating around up there. There's still a few other veteran defensemen around that haven't been signed as of yet. But the Ducks opted to grab Shuster here, a $1.3 million signing. So obviously that's going to add to their defensive depth on their back end. Still plenty of veteran free agents on the market right now. We still don't know what's going on with Patrick Maroon. I've been trying to find some information to find out where he may be heading, and there really isn't a whole lot of details that seem to be floating around out there. So not really sure or clear yet where he's going to land. So when we know more on that, we'll certainly discuss it here. But until then, we'll see if we can find out where he's heading. There's still plenty of other veteran defensemen on the market as well. So we'll see where some of these guys go. Obviously, some of them might be having a hard time finding contracts for the new season, or may have to sign for very cheap, or possibly even two-way deals, or possibly some of these guys might end up having to go to camp on a professional tryout. We'll just see here. As we all know, the game's changing. The game's getting younger, faster, and more skilled all the time. So it's proven more and more challenging and difficult for these guys to keep their NHL jobs as they get a little bit older. So obviously, for some of these guys, it's proven to be quite a challenge. So stay tuned for more signings. We'll report on them as they come to be. If you're new to the channel here, hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.